Not that long ago, exactly where I'm standing used to be a part of our family bathroom. In fact, the bath literally used to be in this position, and now I've converted it into a walk-in wardrobe, which was a great project, but takes many, many different jobs, all stacked on top of each other to be able to complete something like this. There was plumbing and flooring and electrics and decorating and carpentry. Just about every DIY type job went into this one project. So in this video, over the next 10 minutes or maybe 12 minutes, I'm going to show you everything I did to convert this room from start to finish. We haven't got any time to lose, so no starting credits. Let's just get straight into it. This family bathroom has a lot of wasted space. It's just over 2 meters wide and almost 5 meters long. So the plan is that I put a new stud partition wall halfway along, keeping the bathroom at one end and creating a new walk-in wardrobe at the other. So the first thing I do is to remove the bath, and that gains me access to the plumbing, which means I can cap off the hot and cold water pipes. Obviously, before I construct a new wall, I need to make an opening to access the new room. And I know that there's power cables within this wall, although I can't really pick them up. So I start taking off the plasterboard, feeling my way as I go, so I don't damage any of the cables in the wall. As I take out the studs, I remove them carefully so I can reuse them as the perimeter of the new opening, because they're already exactly the right width to fit in between the two layers of plasterboard. And I fix these with just screws through the plasterboard and some toenail screws on each joint. With the opening constructed, I can fit my door lining, which is just a little bit smaller, and before I secure it in place, I pack out the gap with some shims, which means it won't deform as I screw it in place. I can now turn my attention to my door, which I firstly need to take about 5mm off both the top and the bottom, which I do with my track saw. And in the workshop I can also fit my 3 hinges on the door side. Back to the door lining, I can now offer up the door and cut the hinges on the frame side. And luckily enough, as I fitted it, it worked perfectly with no adjustments needed. Which means I can drill out to fit the latch and the handles. All of this work with a walk-in wardrobe I've already published in a number of different videos. So if you want to see any of this in more detail, I'll put links to all of the videos that made up this whole project in the description below. It wasn't long after I constructed this opening that this crack appeared on one corner on both sides of the wall. And taking off the plasterwork, on further investigation, it seemed that the original plasterers had used a board that the corner had been damaged. So I removed everything, put plenty of mesh in, tying it to the plasterboard around, and then refilled up to the surface level. And then off camera, I sanded it flush. And so far, fingers crossed, the crack hasn't reappeared. I'm lucky with the existing bathroom setup that I don't need to touch the toilet or the shower, but the one thing that is in the way is this heated towel rail, so I drain the central heating system so I can take it off the wall, then adjust the pipework, giving the whole tail rail a 250mm kick to the right, with the pipework hidden within the wall. This I'll make good a little bit later when I'm doing some plasterboarding and some plastering. Before I can build this stud partition wall, there's a couple of things I need to get out of the way first. So it's got to that time where I need to take out the floor of the walk-in wardrobe while leaving the tiles of the existing bathroom, because I don't want to touch those, which does mean that I need to cut them and then break them all out. So the next thing I need to do is to mark exactly where I'm going to be cutting these tiles, give it 10mm extra, and see if I can put a nice clean cut all the way down from one side to the other. So when I break out this side, I don't randomly go and break a tile that I want to keep. Fingers crossed. These 360-degree laser levels are excellent for this type of job. It means that I can get the wall totally flat with the top plate in line and absolutely above the bottom plate. I'll put an Amazon link in the description below for this cheap laser level that I've been using now for many years. And to cut the tiles, I use a standard 4-inch angle grinder with a diamond blade, but with this attachment that did a really good job of sucking away all the dust, which was another little purchase on Amazon, which I'll put a link for below. With the tiles removed from the walk-in wardrobe section, I then glued and fixed the base plate of the new partition wall onto the floor, and then another onto the ceiling, which meant I could fit my studs in between. So today's little project is to disconnect and reroute my hot cold and my waste from where the sink used to be, which is here, to where it's going to be, which is here. So I need to reroute it through this wall so you can't see the pipes and get them to stick out at the right place for the new sink position. With the plumbing in place, I could finally get to the point where I can put up some plasterboard. This is 12.5mm or 1/2 inch plasterboard on the bathroom side of the stud partition wall. Which meant I could feed my hot, cold and waste pipes through and mesh and finish at least one side of the wall. And then off camera, I did a bit of tiling, which means I could refit the existing sink, but onto the new wall. And with a bit of sealant and a bit of paint, suddenly my new bathroom was absolutely complete, albeit a lot smaller than it used to be. The wardrobes I intend to use are the IKEA pack system. And on the IKEA website, they've got this really good design tool, which very quickly and easily means that you can put together combinations of wardrobes and exactly what they look like. Essentially, I've got 4 wardrobes going in this small space. However, the 2 big ones I have to assemble within the room because I physically can't assemble them outside and get them through the door and then upright. All of the wardrobes I put on a plinth that I made out of 4x2 CLS. However, once I had them all installed, I did think that this was a little bit high, so off camera I took out the plinths again, cut them down to about 60mm in height and then just reinstalled them, which just seemed to work and look a lot better. Before finishing the wardrobe fit out, I turned my attention to the floor where I tidied up some of the old adhesive and then installed some electrical underfloor heating. Because this room has no heating at all, it was obvious at this point that unless I put some in, this would be really cold during the winter. So rather than putting a radiator in, this electrical underfloor heating is a really easy alternative. Once again, I did a video on, so if you want to have a look at that in more detail, go and click the link in the description below. On top of this heated floor, off camera, I just fitted some very basic engineered oak flooring, which as you can imagine is only about 2 square meters, which didn't take more than half an hour. And with that in place, I can finish the fit out of the wardrobes and install the base trim, which is painted MDF, to give the wardrobes a fitted look, and trim at the top together with some coving. And I also cut a number of 50mm or 2-inch wide MDF strips and painted them the same colour as the wardrobe, which I use for trim both at the top and between each wardrobe, that just hides those joints and makes everything look a little bit more fitted. And then finally, the job is done, and I must say I'm really happy with the outcome. And it's really nice to have all your clothes and everything all in one place, in one little room, just off of your bedroom. So there you go, the whole project all in one short video. And I've just realised standing here that I've still got this door lining and architrave to paint. See, it doesn't matter what size project you have, there's always something outstanding. And if I don't do it now, it's still going to be like this in about a year's time. Hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you next time.